Welcome to Secure the Bag, Week 5 NFL Picks. It's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Strizzy. Welcome back, Slide Fam. Let's get that money.
Let's get that money. Hashtag not betting advice. We back in the building, and you know what we're here to do. We're here to make picks for all 14 NFL matchups this week. Week 5, we're already into the bye week, so we'll look at those teams later, but make sure you got your fantasy lineup set right. And it's a little bit more scarce out there with the lines, and it's also getting a little bit – Vegas is getting a little bit smarter, right? We have a bigger sample size, so they're kind of keying in on these a little bit better. So it's a little bit harder to find the locks, I feel like, as this season goes on. How do you – Jersey, though, with looking at these matchups and your predictions for this week?
Yeah, beginning of the season is always tough. You know what I mean? You never know, which teams who were great teams last year are not doing so well this year, and the teams that were not so good last year, with off-season with new off-season changes, a lot of them are looking better this year. You know what I'm saying? You look at guys like, the Vikings or even the Commanders, teams that you had no idea how they were going to be doing this year, and they're doing a lot better than I think we all thought they would be. So it's tough, and I think we're getting closer trying to figure out kind of like who our contenders and pretenders are. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it definitely does make things a little bit tough. But like we always say, man, any given Sunday, any team can be the any bad team can be the good one. So
exactly.
Otherwise, Vegas will lose every week. You know what I'm saying? So,
for real. And they never lose, really.
For real.
No, that's what's up, though. But no, I feel you for sure. Definitely any given Sunday, and they're all NFL teams. So we'll see, though. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Week 5. Last week we both went 9-7, I think it is. So not too bad. But we'll go ahead and have you lead us off into our games this week, starting with Thursday Night Football, the Bucs at the Falcons.
This was tricky for me, man. I feel like both of these teams are actually pretty decent teams. Middle of the pack defensively. Quarterbacks are doing pretty well on both sides of the ball. But I'm going to take Atlanta at home. I think these teams are going to split the division series. So I think Falcons win today and Bucs will win later on.
Got you. So I feel that. I feel like that they might split, but I'm actually going with the Bucs. It does worry me that the Falcons are at home. But I just feel like the Bucs, man, I think that the Denver game was a blip. I think Denver's defense is better than we thought. And,
it definitely is.
Yeah, and recently this Bucs team has kind of owned the Falcons. I know the Falcons are a little bit better, but I still don't really think that Kirk Cousins and the Falcons offense has hit their gear yet. So
sure.
In a potentially high-scoring game, I'm going to go with the Bucs, but this one's a coin flip for me too, though. I think this is going to be a very close game, very fun one to watch on Thursday night.
Yeah, Falcons running back Bijan Robinson's also pretty beat up himself. He doesn't have any injury designations, but he was hampered with a hamstring injury. So anything goes wrong, that hamstring tightens up, he's out for the game. So just watch that as well.
Exactly, and quietly kept Tyler Algier is actually pretty legit.
I think Tyler Algier is actually a better runner than Robinson is. I just feel like they're trying to make Robinson the guy, but every time Tyler Algier gets touches, he outrushes him every time.
Exactly. So it's like, oh man, I think it kind of that rookie coming in kind of boosts him up like, yo, I can do this too,
Yeah.
So you're right. If that hamstring goes bad and he gets any touches, he's gonna make the most of them. So that's what's up. Pops, welcome into the show. Pops said good afternoon. He said tough matchups. Falcons play hard, especially at home. He's going with the Falcons as well. So I like that one. I think this is definitely going to be a good matchup, though.
Me too.
It could pay dividends later on for the NFC South. We'll see, because these are the two teams up there a little bit. All right, moving into Sunday morning, we have our first London game of the year. The Jets at the Vikings at Hotspur Stadium.
Oh, man, I like the Vikings in this one for some odd reason. I feel like Sam Darnold, this is his official comeback. You know what I'm saying? Like he played them first game of the season when he was starting for the Panthers, but I feel like that just wasn't a real game, right? Panthers was so struggling, didn't have the coaching, didn't have the weapons, they just didn't have it. And I feel like this is his real comeback, get back type game against a team that really gave up on him. You know what I'm saying? And just didn't do anything for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Vikings in this one. That defense is nasty. Sam Darnold is pulling all the right strings. And the Jets, man, they had their big breakout game against the Patriots, but that's the Patriots. And we saw what they did last week against Denver, who they have a stout defense, but they don't have a lot of weapons. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers, they cannot really move the ball. They struggle. And I think against this Brian Flores defense with this long road trip, I think they're going to struggle as well. So I'm going with the Vikings in London town. Got to wake up extra early to watch that one, especially for us on the West Coast. So
Yeah.
I might see like the second half. We'll see. Depends
Yeah.
on how things are going. All right, moving on. An interesting matchup here: the Panthers at the Bears.
I'm just gonna keep picking my Panthers until they finally give me one. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this is definitely a game that they could win. The Bears defense has actually been surprisingly really good this year. And the offense is still taking some time to catch up. But I feel like like we let some drops kind of derail us against the Bengals. I think that Bengals game was a lot closer than people think, or you know what I mean. So I think if we continue to move the offense and Canellis has a good offensive game plan for him, I think we can get this one. I think Bears are favored by 3 or something along those lines, maybe. But it's going to be tricky because it's going to be an away game for my boys, and then as well as just the Bears defense. So I'm going with the Panthers. I think they win this one.
Got you. Yeah, I am going with the Bears because of that home field advantage. I think this is going to be a pretty close one, though. It's just that Bears defense scares me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are really good. And obviously, like you said, the Bengals, that game could have went differently for the Panthers. They had the breakout against the Raiders. So the offenses definitely look different with Andy Dalton. But I just feel like that Bears defense might be a little bit too much. And they started running the ball last week a little bit. So that really helped balance out the offense and help them score a little bit. But Pops is going with your Panthers as well.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a really fun matchup to watch on Sunday morning. So I'll definitely be keyed in on that one.
I think Panthers fans too, really quick. I think Panthers fans too are just really excited the fact that we've been able to move the ball with Andy Dalton. But I think if we do lose this game too, then I think it's still obviously we still have some work to be done. We're missing some really big factors on defense too. We're missing Derek Brown, who's a monster up from on the defensive side of the ball, probably our best defensive player on that line easily. And Shaq Thompson went out too. So
yeah,
they might be able to run the ball this week, which will definitely help Caleb Williams. But I don't know. For some reason, I feel like this is like a must-win game for us. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to be able to put some wins together, not one win and then go on 7-game losing streaks. Like we gotta put some wins together. And hopefully, we can do that against an okay Bears team.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I love it, man. Just because hearing you say hearing Panthers fans have something to hold on to, something to be optimistic about, is a big difference between the mess of the organization they were at the end of last year and even at the beginning of this year. So I'm excited for it. All right, next up, we have the Browns at the Commanders.
I'll go with the Commanders. I think the Browns are
whoa. My bad.
You're good. I'll go with the Commanders, man. They look really, really good offensively, and if Quinn can get them going defensively, they're going to be a scary team for the remainder of the year. I think the Browns are done until they give up on Watson. I think Watson is done. He does not look like an NFL quarterback, and they need to figure something out because it's going to suck. $200 million guaranteed is a lot of money to throw away, but Watson has not looked good at all in his third season as a Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, his first season, he missed the first 11 games, but for some reason, it's just not working. He doesn't look good.
I know. People are saying, did he forget how to play football?
Yeah.
Maybe he did. Like, I don't know if that's possible like that for him being so young and still so talented, but it's looked bad. And I feel like the Browns are really just needing Nick Chubb to get back in there, needing to have a little bit more balance, and then give Watson a fair shot. But that's not happening this week, even though Chubb did return to practice. So hopefully he's coming soon. But yeah, I feel like in this game, the Commanders are going to have a little bit too much on offense, and they'll do enough on defense to hold the Browns down. So I am going with the Commanders at home on this one. The Browns are kind of lowly, man. Again, they're kind of returned down to that. And, of course, they're facing some other guys too. Njoku hasn't really played at all at tight end, so their offense has kind of been stumbling. So I think that the Commanders will be too much, especially at home.
I think it bothers me a little too much that even though they didn't really play any real competition with Joe Flacco, the best this offense has looked in 3 years with Joe Flacco behind center. So
right,
I just taking 2 years off of a professional sport, you know what I'm saying, in any sport, it's hard to come back. You know what I mean? And Watson missed so many games, bro. Like he's missed a lot of time. I think the league, in my opinion, has passed him up.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I only just think that the Browns have so much invested in him. They're not going to make a change this year, at least.
No, for sure.
Next year they can do a little bit different. Next year they can do a little bit different things, but with there'll be some dead cap money. But right now they're so tied into them financially, they're like, dang, we just gonna have to suck.
For real. So, I don't even know who their backup is, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just saying, like, he just hasn't looked good. But I actually do agree with you, though. I do think they're not going to bail on him, at least not this year. But next year, there'll be a lot more dead money that kind of give away some. Maybe it's an option.
Yeah, it's Jameis Winston over there.
Oh, that's right.
And he's been over there trying to hype them up and stuff. But you never know.
Jameis Winston in there, he gonna get that offense going right, bro.
Yeah, maybe. Like
he might have 2 interceptions, but he gonna have 390 yards and like at least 3 touchdowns, bro.
Exactly. He's gonna keep you in the game, but take you out of it at the same time.
Bro, start Jameis. I'm gonna start the hashtag start Jameis, bro. They need something.
We'll see. Pops is going with the Commanders as well. All right. Next up, we've got division foes, Miami at the Patriots. Probably 2 of the worst teams in the league, honestly, right now. Who do you got in this one?
I'm for some reason going with the Patriots. I think the Dolphins are done until they figure out what they can actually do at quarterback. Even as a Ravens fan, man, I've never really been a huge Huntley fan. I just feel like when Lamar goes out and Huntley goes in, Ravens lose like every game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Lamar was huge. It shows how big Lamar is for the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Huntley just didn't really do a great job with them last week. Granted, he has more time. You know what I'm saying, this week, but for some reason, I just feel like Patriots still get this done.
I'm going with the Patriots as well at home. The defense, the familiarity with the scheme. Obviously, they know Miami's scheme to hold them down, and Miami can't even execute their own scheme.
Yeah.
So I honestly think Mike McDaniel is in a tricky situation because if you look at the last 4 or 5 games of last year, and if you look at the way this year started, even when they had Tua for his game and a half, that offense has not looked the same. I think the league is kind of figured out how to kind of cap their speed.
Yeah.
So I think that's scary because they're no longer going to be able to be better than the sum of their parts, and they just don't have the players. So
I think, there was a lot of talk at the beginning of, Miami Dolphins, making some trades for Bryce, after the benching there. But honestly, I think they should go after Russell Wilson. I think they should really make a push for him because right now it looks like that job is taken and it's unless he gets injured, I feel like it's his job to keep.
I like that, and a veteran might help them out a little bit more to get them kind of steady and kind of be good morale. Exactly. So we'll see.
Short quarterback who has some legs on him. He's definitely bigger than Tua is, but he's still a shorter guy. And I think if anybody can get Russell Wilson going, it hopefully is Mike McDaniel. So yeah. I feel like that would be a good quarterback for them to go after.
I like that. Pops is not feeling his play calling, so we'll see. It worked for the first 10 games of last year, and then
Thanks.
All right, next up we got the Colts at the Jaguars.
I don't know. I think Joe Flacco's starting this game. I think.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything for sure yet, but for some reason I feel like this is when Jacksonville gets their first win of the season. You know what I mean? And they're in Jacksonville. I don't really have much on this game, but I don't know. I think Jacksonville gets their first win this weekend.
I'm going with Jacksonville as well at home. I think that they're desperate. Their season is kind of on the line, even though they're already pretty screwed going 0-4, only winless team in the league. But you go 0-5, and then I think they have their next 2 games are in London against some tough opponents. That's that's a bad look. So I think that they're going to throw out all the stops for this game. I think they'll get right. Yeah. If not, Peterson might not survive the weekend, honestly.
Yeah.
He might not be on that plane to London. The Colts, though, I think they're solid, but I think with the full week to prepare for Joe Flacco and all that, I think that does limit them a little bit. So I think the Jags will be okay in this one. They definitely need this one.
Yeah.
All right, next up, this is one of my matchups of the week. The Bills at the Texans.
Yeah, this one's going to be a good one. I, for some reason, have the Bills bouncing back from a last week struggle in this one. Should be a really, really good one. I feel like it's just they're going to be airing this ball out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm probably taking the over in this game, but I also like the Bills in this one. But it's going to be tough because they are in Houston. Texans are really good. They've got a solid defense and a very good offense. And but I'm going Bills. I think Bills get this one done.
Oh, man, I'm going to have to go against you on this one. I think it's going to be a really close game, though. It's a coin flip for me. I'm barely leaning slightly to Houston, as long as Joe Mixon plays as well. If Joe Mixon comes back healthy, which he's supposed to, I just feel like the Texans defense, they have the linebackers, they have the guys to kind of stop Buffalo's running game and force them to just air it out. And their wide receivers really haven't really panned out. I feel like a lot of what's happened early on this year is just Josh Allen to Coleman and like back shoulder stuff. And when they're in the lead, that's okay, but coming back from behind might not be so much. So I just feel like the Texans are a better balanced team, and they have enough to kind of answer them on defense, and then they have enough to beat them on offense, because I still worry about the Bills secondary as well. But this is going to be a really good game. This is a gut check game for the Bills, like you said, coming off a kind of a rough loss to the Ravens.
Yep.
We're gonna see what they're made of.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're right too. I think for the Bills too, it's going to really determine on how quickly they can get James Cook involved too. Because when they're running the ball, Josh Allen really looks undefeated, like unbeatable. You know what I'm saying? But you are right. And kind of who wants it more? I know Diggs is going to want to get into this game, and I know Josh Allen too. Like they've been kind of going back and forth about it. So I know I think Josh might want this more than Diggs, and Josh has more of a hand on the way the game goes than what Diggs does. So I don't know. I think it's definitely going to be a good one, though.
Yeah, for sure. I know Diggs is going to be motivated, and I know he didn't expect to go down there and be second fiddle to Nico Collins, but Nico Collins is a beast, man. He is a beast. He's a monster. So they definitely got some
crazy what Stroud has done for that kid's career, because it wasn't his rookie year, it was Stroud's rookie year. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I think like I said about the year prior, no one was talking about, oh my God, we got Nico Collins coming to town, but Stroud has literally made that dude one of the best in the league so far. He's killing it, man.
I love it. I love to see it. All right, another good matchup. We got the Ravens at the Bengals.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going Ravens in this one. For the last couple of years, Ravens have kind of owned the Bengals a little bit. They beat up on Joe Burrow. They beat us up last week, but I think Ravens get back for me.
I agree. I'm going with the Ravens as well. The Bengals defense is terrible.
Yeah,
they really can't stop anybody. But I think this could be a high-scoring game. It bodes well because in one of my leagues I have, Jamar Chase and what's his face, Blondie for the Bengals, the quarterback. So Joe Burrow. So I'm hoping that that matchup will work out for me. I don't think they're going to get the win, but I think that they will score some points. But the Ravens, they're finding themselves. They're finding their identity. They're finding their balance. And when you got a guy like Derrick Henry going the way he is, and you got a guy like Lamar Jackson as dynamic as he is, that's really hard to stop. And their defense is getting back to that Ravens standard. So we got to watch out for them for sure.
It's definitely scary when you got Derrick Henry coming up the middle, but you also have to pay attention and see if Lamar's going to keep it and take. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be, once they really get going, it's going to be really hard to stop that team.
Yeah. I just hope that their play calling comes through in the playoffs, because that's when it counts, and they certainly always fail.
Absolutely.
All right, another potential toilet bowl game. This is interesting, though. It's a division matchup. Raiders at Broncos.
Yeah, man. A lot of issues going on in Raider country right now with the Devontae Adams stuff, and I feel like he hasn't really been too great through 4 games so far. But without him, I kind of think that it's either going to help them or it's really going to hurt them. Right? Helps them because they don't have to focus on him. He's not playing this week. He is, I think, officially out with the trade requests. But I think I'm going Broncos. The defense has been super nasty these last couple of weeks. So much so that the offense doesn't have to do a lot to win. As long as the offense can, run the ball and get down the field a little bit and put some points up, I think Raiders are going to really struggle to score.
I agree. I think the Raiders, they survived last week, without Adams, with all the turmoil, but I don't feel like they're going to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat again. Not against this defense. The Broncos defense is doing really well. Bo Nix still has a lot to prove.
Yeah,
but he's doing just barely enough. You know what I'm saying? Couple field goals in this game. Definitely take the under, but I do think the Broncos win in a low-scoring one. Pop says, is Pierce about to be fired already? It depends on who they're loyal to. If they go with the players, it's crazy because just at the end of last year, the players went up to the office like, we want this guy. We're ready for this guy. And then it seems like through one offseason and 1 quarter of the season, a lot of the players are out on him. So I don't know. It's crazy, but hopefully he doesn't get fired already. Hopefully he gets at least 1 season.
Kind of sucks that they still don't really have a quarterback, which is also a big reason as to why Devontae Adams wants to dip out. You know what I mean? But I just feel like there are a lot more issues there. Like they definitely need a quarterback. They definitely need to get the ball to Brock Bowers, and I'm sure Adams wouldn't mind staying if he had a quarterback who was able to get him the ball. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
and you lose Josh Jacobs this past year too, so you lose a really good running back as well. So
true.
definitely
The
doesn't make
GMs,
things easy.
yeah, the GMs definitely didn't set up Pierce for success for sure.
Yeah.
They should have drafted the quarterback. They should have done something,
Yeah.
but they kind of wanted to see what he could squeeze out of this team this year, and this is what you got. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's a rough one. All right, next up we got the Cardinals at the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm going 49ers in this one. I think as of right now, I think Brock Purdy is one of the favorites to win the MVP right now, and he's playing super well. And it's weird because it's like this is the year he's playing probably his best, and he's doing it quietly.
Yeah,
like I think he's second in the league in passing yards, just like a couple of yards behind Geno Smith. But the Seattle has had to pass the ball quite a bit, whereas the San Francisco 49ers have not. They've been able to run the ball super well. So seeing what Brock Purdy's been able to do this season so far, in my opinion, probably his best season so far, passing yards and touchdowns and the minuscule interceptions, like he's playing really well. Yeah. And I just feel like they're going to be – it might be close at the beginning, but San Francisco will pull away towards the end.
Definitely. I'm going with the 49ers as well, at home especially. The Cardinals are middle of the pack. You know what I'm saying? They're not terrible, but they're not great. And San Francisco is getting better. And like you said, Purdy is actually having a really good year. And it makes sense, right? Because this is like his third year. He's finally getting to like progress. And like everybody as a pro gets a little bit better along the way. He came out like, blazing and working really well within the system. But now he's figuring his own legs out. You know what I'm saying? He's figuring out his own way. So I do think he's getting better, which is great, which bodes great for the San Francisco 49ers because if they can get the defense right and they can get some of their injuries resolved, they have a long way to go.
Exactly. Completely.
All right. Next up, we got the Giants at the Seahawks.
Oh, man, definitely the Seahawks. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of the Seahawks so far. Geno Smith, I think he had a little bit of a rough time last season. I know he got injured, but he's also dealing his first year without Dave Canales. So again, figuring out his way in a new offensive scheme. But this year, it seems like we're watching Geno. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like not Dave Canales, not another offensive coordinator. So this year, it looks like we're watching what we know Geno could have been, or what he could have been all along, given the chance. And I don't know. I love what I'm seeing so far, and definitely, like I said, I'm going against the Giants every week. So Seahawks all the way.
Yeah, I'm going with the Seahawks. I think they're about to put up 45 points on the Giants. They ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw against the Lions, but I think that this is a get-right game for them. And then the Giants, they showed a little bit more promise against the Cowboys, but that was at home. This is a long road trip. This is a more well-rounded team that they're probably facing, a team that they don't know as well. So I got Seahawks all the way. Pops is hating a little bit. Purdy runs the easiest offense in the NFL. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, the 49ers coaching staff puts him in a great position, but actually doing his thing.
Yeah.
He is doing very well.
Yeah, I feel like especially like right now. I mean, Jordan Mason has played really, really well, but like he's still not CMC, right? There's a couple of weeks where he was missing Debo as well, and so like I feel like Pops is right. Like the offense of 49ers it's A1. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely A1, but he still has to go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give it to him this year. He's playing really well. Like you said, we're starting to see more Brock Purdy than like the offensive scheme. Yeah,
for sure. All right, next up we got Green Bay at the LA Rams.
Ooh, I'm thinking Green Bay in this one. I love how competitive the Rams have been able to stay. Minus that game against the Cardinals, which again is a rivalry game. But I like what McVay has been able to do, and I think they keep it close. But I think Green Bay wins. I think they're like a 3-point favorite. I think they get that by 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think Green Bay, Jordan Love, another week away from that injury from week 1. I think he's going to be playing a little bit better. And LaFleur is a good one. And especially like this is another weird twist, you know what I'm saying? LaFleur and McVay, right? Because he's from that same tree.
Yeah.
But LaFleur has had the better of McVay. It's really like that student become master type of situation in this one. So I am going with Green Bay. And the Rams, like you said, they're holding it together. But it's pretty sad they could end up dropping to, I think it'd be 1-4, and their only win being against the 49ers on a big comeback. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I am going with Green Bay as well in this one. All right. Moving into Sunday Night Football, we got America's team at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, this is crazy to me. Dallas is actually the underdog here. I think it has more so to do with being in Pittsburgh, and and Steelers have a slightly better record, I think. But I'm going Dallas, man. I like Dallas as the underdog. It's only like 1.5 points or something, anything crazy, but I like Dallas in a get right game. You know what I mean? Like I think obviously they beat the Giants and then they lost. They had a comeback against the Ravens, which is not unheard of because Ravens have a bad habit of letting people back in games like that. But I think Dallas. This is a good test for Dallas' offense going against a really good Steelers defense.
Yeah, I'm going with Dallas as well, but I think it's going to be so close. I can see why the Steelers are favored because the strengths and weaknesses play right into the Steelers' hands.
Yeah,
They're the best against the run, and they're really solid against the pass, and the Cowboys can't run the ball at all. So
yeah,
this is going to be the question. Can Mike McCarthy put together an offense and some play calls that actually give the chance to have, some success through the passing game outside of CeeDee Lamb? Because they're going to double team him.
yeah.
Brandon Cooks is injured. What can you do? Can you scheme some guys open? Because right now, every time I watch Dak throw, he is throwing it inches away from the linebacker's hands. He's right over the linebacker, right under the safety. Everything is like they're on the court. They're getting no separation in the offense. So it's like, can you get some play calls? And then as far as the defense, the Cowboys defense, I think will be enough because the Steelers just really aren't that dynamic.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can cover George Pickens, it's going to be deep shots to George Pickens and up the middle with Najee Harris. So hopefully they can do enough. I'm thinking it's going to be kind of a low-scoring game, but I'm hoping that and I'm thinking that Dallas will pull it out barely. So
I think too if Dallas can contain Fields, because I don't know, I just haven't been high on Najee Harris. He hasn't been the running back that I thought everyone thought he was going to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he's also running against some stacked boxes though. He's like getting no room from his line.
Very true. Very true. That is very true. But I think if they can contain Justin Fields, don't let Justin Fields have 100 rushing yard game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's going to really, I think that'll really mess with the Dallas defense. If they do, but if they can contain him and kind of take their running away, I think you guys are fine because they're also not allowing Justin Fields to really just go ham as a thrower, as a passer. So
yeah,
I'm with you on that in regards to it being close because again, it's 1.5 points. You know what I'm saying on whether it's a favorite or underdog, but I think Dallas gets this one, man. I think Dallas squeaks it out.
I do. I think so too, and I hope that maybe Ezekiel Elliott have a little flashback when they went to the Steelers in his rookie year. That was one of his greatest performances as a Cowboy. Yeah. Let's bookend it with another great performance. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. All right, our last game of the week. This is a very interesting one. Monday Night Football. The Saints at the Chiefs.
The Chiefs should be like 1-3 right now for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the win that they get for sure is against the Chargers. I think, but even that one had some crazy questionable calls, dog. But I think this is the game where they lose. I think the Saints win this game. I don't know why. I just do. The Saints have done really, really well this year with playing to their competition in regards to when they play good teams, right? When they play good teams, they have played really well, but they've also played down to their competition as well when they're playing bad teams. So if they can play well against Kansas City, who's really beat up right now, I think the Saints can pull this off. I think this might be the upset of the week for me.
Yeah, I can see it happening. I'm definitely going the Saints against the spread. But I think that something's going to happen where Kansas City will pull it out. I'm going to go with the Chiefs only because they're at home.
Dropping the passer call when it's 4th and 24.
Exactly. Something's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? They'll be just out of field goal range. It'll be like it'll be like an offsides. It'll be like an encroachment, and they'll get that extra 5 yards and kick a field goal to win it. I don't know. It's something. I'm just feeling the Kansas City at home only because if this was reversed, if the Saints were in the dome, I feel like the weather has impact on it, slows their offense down a little bit too.
Yeah.
But I definitely think this is going to be a very close game, closer than it would appear, like going into the season. But I'm going Chiefs by literally by 1 point. So
yeah, no, I feel you on that. I think the spread right now is it's 4.5 or 5.5, something like that, in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
My question:
Saints have been actually pretty damn good,
right?
And they're rushing their run defense is still poor, and Kamara's been really, really good too. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think my big question for Andy Reid this week is can you get Worthy involved? He doesn't usually let rookies go ham, but it's we saw him in the very first game, and then he's been quiet since then. Yep. With Rashee Rice out, you really need to get your other guys going. It's not just going to only be the Travis Kelce show because he's not the same as he
No,
was.
he's older. He's definitely older. We've seen him block a lot more this year, which is kind of weird. And honestly, the other is it Noah Fant? Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually looked surprisingly kind of better so far this year. Minus the game that Travis Kelce had last Sunday, right? But aside from that, like Fant's been the better tight end this year. But I completely agree with you. Worthy, essentially, to me, is Tyreek Hill's replacement. You know what I mean? So if you can turn Tyreek Hill's slants and middle of the route curl routes, like Worthy needs to be that player, and I think he definitely can be. You gotta let him do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just give him that chance to rock out.
Yep.
All right, that's what's up. That's the full 14 game slate on our money line picks. We're gonna go against the spread really quickly, and again, this is not actual betting advice, but we picked who will win the games. Now we're gonna bring our locks against the spread, and again, considering that adjusted score, right? So if there's a favorite team, you take those points off of them, and Pop said they'd be black. That's messed up. All right, let's bring our locks real quick. We'll see what Hunt can do this week, but yeah. All right. Last week, you got the Cowboys and the Commanders, so great job. 2 out of 3 on your locks. And we just talked about this one, so give us this one real quick.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like kind of like I was saying, even if the Saints for some reason can't win straight up for me, I feel like 5.5 is a lot. You know what I mean? I feel like they are going to play up to Kansas City's, they're just to KC's standards, so the game will definitely be close. I feel like the only way that they don't win by 6 is that this game goes into overtime and KC wins by a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So, but aside from that, I really do think that Saints have a really good chance at winning this game. KC has definitely been sneaking by some of these wins, some of these questionable wins, but I think they can pull it off. I think Saints can pull it off.
Got you.
5.5 is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, same thing with this game. I just really like Green Bay in this one. Money line and spread wise, I think 3 points is perfect. They might even be able to win by more than that if LA can't get their offense going because obviously they're missing their 2 best offensive weapons. I think they're going to look to try to run the ball and to keep the ball out of Jordan Love's hands. So that means Kyron Williams needs to be perfect. But I just feel like Green Bay at the end of the day is going to be a little too much. They're going to be able to march the ball down the field and kind of score at will. I don't see a lot of punts in this game for Green Bay.
For sure. And this one, the line actually moved to plus 2.5.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. I had them at plus 1.5 initially. Again, I still think they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be close. But I do have Dallas winning this game, and give me 2.5 points. I'll definitely take it. Dallas is still trying to kind of figure some things out a little bit, I think. But I think this could be another kind of like get right. Let's go out there and let's beat a good team. You know what I mean? Like this team is, I'd say they're definitely better than average. But like I keep saying, like year to year, like Dallas needs these over 500 wins. You know what I'm saying? Like not the ones that are below 500 or barely at 500. Like let's get a win against an actual like a really good team that's I don't say well above 500. We're only 5 weeks in now, but I'd like to see them beat the Steelers. And plus, I hate the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? More than anything. So let's get it. I
feel that for sure. All right, moving on to my locks real quick. Last week did hit on the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans.
Nice.
But I'm actually I'm taking the points with the Bucks tonight. I think at plus 2.5, it's going to be a close one, but I do think that they can squeak out this game. Makes me a little bit nervous that the Falcons are at home, but I'm hoping that the Bucks can overcome that for me. The second game I have the Ravens against the Bengals. I'll take the 2.5 points. I think that should be fine. They should win by a field goal. I think the Bengals, their defense just can't stop anybody. So, and their offense is not really geared to like go on like long time of possession type drives. So even if they score fast, they put their defense right back in harm's way. So I feel like the Ravens should handle them pretty easily. And then this is the one I'm kind of like I'm not sure, but I'm going with the Texans. And at plus 1, I'll take the extra point. But really, plus 1 is a toss up, anyways. I just feel like they're going to have enough to handle Buffalo's offense, and they'll be able to score on their defense too. So those are my 3 locks. Keeping it transparent as we always do on our money line picks right now. We're very close, 36-28, 37-27 through our first 4 weeks of the season. Make sure you compete against us on the Yahoo Pick'em. Shout out to Stephanie Washington, who won last week and is leading the yearly standard so far. So great job, Stephanie Washington. Thank you for rocking with us. And again, every week, whoever wins each week gets a Super Bowl square for the big game in February. And then on our lock side, man, I had a couple runs, a couple 3 in a row, but last week kind of fell off. But we're trying to keep it going and at least hit 50% of our locks, and we're doing that.
12, man. That's phenomenal. That's 80%. That's legit.
Let's keep it moving. Exactly. And then lastly, real quick, the bye weeks, you know what I'm saying, for teams getting some well-deserved rest, 2 on the AFC side, 2 on the NFC side. So, again, if you have Saquon Barkley, you know what I'm saying, if you have Gibbs, if you have some of those bigger players for these teams, make sure you get them out of your fantasy lineups, and then you get you somebody some scrubs off the window. So, that's what's up. All right, Strizzy. Real quick, I know we went a little bit long on today's, but thank you guys for rocking with us as always. You got any little parlays or any little player props for tonight's game?
Yeah, man. I think I'm kind of favoring some of the running backs tonight. Both of these teams allow about 130, 140 yards rushing tonight. And then both of the defenses actually pretty good, though. I think Falcons allow 21 points per game. Tampa allows about 19. So I'm also taking the under. I think the under is at 43.5. I'll do the under as well. Both these teams know each other pretty well, so I'm thinking low scoring. I think both teams are going to run the ball quite a bit. And then also think about one receiver from each side is going to have a really good game, then the other ones are going to kind of fall below. Haven't decided yet whether or not that's going to be Evans or Godwin from the Falcons side, or if it's going to be for some reason what's the other dude? Drake London with the Mooney. Mooney has been one of Kirk Cousins' favorite targets this year so far from them, which has been surprising. So still deciding on which receiver I'm going to take to kind of be the kind of go-ahead guy for both sides right now. But, yeah, definitely looking at the running back so far.
Nice. I love it. All right, there you have it. We will see you all next week for episode 267 of Say Like a Champ on Tuesday. Every Tuesday, that's our big show where we do all sports, and we'll be breaking down all the results of the NFL week matchups this week. And then we'll be back each and every Thursday for all of our picks. But until then, it's your boy A-Dub.
And your boy Strizzy.
Peace. Oh, where's the outro?
Get it together, Instagram.
For real.
And you say the truth. They open up my eyes.